What's up guys, Gavin here. Today I got an Earth Machine deck profile for y'all, and this one's pretty special because I actually topped my locals and got a qualifier for the YCS Remote Duel tournament in July, and I'm pretty pumped for that. So yeah, this deck performed super well, and I was really happy with the way it turned out and the way it played. So without any further ado, let me just go over all the cards real quick. Okay, to start for the main deck. Playing 3 copies of Infinitrack Harvester. This is one of the normal summons in the deck. On summon, it searches a Infinitrack monster from your deck to your hand. Also, it has a level modulation effect where you target a other machine monster that you control, and both this card's level and that card's level become the sum of their levels combined. So usually you'll only use that effect with like a level 10, so you can make them both level 12s, so you can actually hard make Zeus, which is kind of cool. But yeah, you don't use that one as often as you'll use the Infinitrack Anchor Drill, which we play one of in this deck. And this card, on summon, it summons a Earth Machine monster from your hand onto the field in defense position, which is really great. It does not negate their effects, and it also has the same level modulation as Harvester, although it is level 4, so it's a little bit more useful because you can target like a level 5 and use it to make rank 9 plays, which is quite nice. And then we're going to get into the level 5 Infinitrack, so we're playing 3 of the Brutal Dozer, which is really good because you tribute. All of the level 5s share the effect where you can tribute off a Earth Machine monster for cost and special summon this card. And that's really good because when you special summon this card from your hand, you can special summon an Infinitrack monster from your deck in defense position and negate its effects. Unfortunately, this card, the worst part about this card is it does lock you into Earth Machines, and that kind of sucks. But this card is really good for making your rank 5 plays. So the cards that you summon off of the Brutal Dozer are Infinitrack Trencher and Infinitrack Tunneler. Most of the time, Infinitrack Trencher is really good because actually the effect of Brutal Dozer to negate this card and this card really doesn't matter because they both have graveyard effects. So Trencher is an extender in the graveyard. You banish it and special summon an Infinitrack from your grave. And Tunneler, you banish it and target 5 Earth Machines in your graveyard and shuffle them back into the deck and then draw 2, just like Pot of Avarice, which is quite good because it helps thin your deck out. For the Machina engine, we're playing 3 copies of Metal Cruncher, so even though this card is a level 9, it is a normal summon because that's part of its effects. You can normal summon it, its attack becomes 1800, and then on summon it also has a search effect where you can reveal 3 Earth Machines from your deck, and your opponent randomly adds 1 to your hand. So if you have 3 copies of the same card in your deck, this card's a true search, but otherwise it's like a pseudo search, which is still quite good. We're playing 2 copies of Fortress and 1 copy of Citadel. So Fortress is really good because you can, none of its effects are once per turn, and that's really strong because you can just special summon this thing over and over again as long as you have the proper material in your hand to keep fueling the discard to special summon this card. It also has 2 nice effects. If it's targeted, you can discard a card out of your opponent's hand, and also if this card is destroyed, you can target 1 card your opponent controls and destroy that target. So some quite good disruption, and you can use it to get Citadel into the graveyard where Citadel likes to be, because Citadel is the boss monster of this archetype, and man, it is really good because anytime one of your machine monsters is destroyed, or one of your Earth Machine monsters is destroyed, you can actually revive this thing from your graveyard. And it also has a once per turn effect where you can target a machine monster that you control and then destroy that card and all monsters on your opponent's field with attack that is equal to or less than the attack of the monster that you just destroyed, which is actually insane. So yeah, Citadel came up a lot today, and yeah, don't sleep on this card. It's absolutely insane. Then for the train package, we're playing 2 Derricrane and 1 Bullet Train. So Derricrane's actually pretty nice at 2 because you like to see it in your opening hand, and if you have 1 of these cards in your opening hand, you can end on a rank 10 play, which is pretty good because it makes it that much harder for your opponent to OTK you. And Bullet Train has a nice graveyard effect where it can add machine monsters back to your hand, Earth Machine monsters back to your hand during the end phase, and that helps you maintain card advantage. And Derricrane, when you detach it from an Xyz material, it's a free pop, so that's really good as well. Then for the 1 brick of the deck, we're playing Ancient Gearbox. This card, you hate to draw it, hate to hard draw it, but otherwise if it gets added to your hand, it's really good because you can add a Earth Machine monster with 500 attack or defense from your deck to your hand, which is really good because you can, when you're adding this and one of the Infinitrack level 5s to your hand, you can, it's free discard fodder for Fortress, which is really good as well. For the hand traps, we're playing 2 Ash. This card's pretty self-explanatory. There's a lot of good Ash targets in the format right now. 3 copy of Nibiru. This card's insane against combo decks because actually most of them can't really play through this card. Like Dragon Link plays through this card, but most of the other ones just really don't. So this card was really good today, and I just picked up a 3rd copy. I was only playing this card at 2 before, but having the 3rd one was really nice. Heavy Forward at 3. This card is basically like a Tenki for the Infinitrack monsters, and also you can attach it onto Machine Xyz monsters that you control or change their battle position, and those are both pretty relevant because when you revive the Infinitrack Xyz monsters from the graveyard by tributing off a Link monster, they bring themselves back in defense mode, and being able to equip this card or attach this card onto Xyz monsters is really good because usually if you're doing that, you're going into Zeus, and having more material on Zeus is like the more the better, right? So yeah, this card's really insane. 3 copies of Redeployment, so this gets you access to your Machina engine. This card is insane. Actually, it's like one of the best cards in the deck, if not the best card in the deck, because it adds you 2 Machina monsters from deck to hand, and getting access to like any of them, any 2 out of the 3 that we play is just really good. So definitely like playing that card at 3. And then 2 Urgent Schedule. This card's mostly a going second card, but also decent going first because once your opponent wipes your board enough to the point where you can actually activate this card, you can catch them a little bit by surprise, and they might think they have OTK on you, but if you just summon out 2 more monsters in defense position, that's really good because they might not be able to OTK you at that point. 1 Called by the Grave. This card is pretty self-explanatory as well. Just stops hand traps, and so it's a really good addition to your end board as well. Just having it set so that you can disrupt your opponent a little bit on their turn. 2 copies of Mystic Mine because we're committing some more crimes today. But yeah, I mean, in all honesty, this card is just a lot of times people don't see it coming and they're not prepared for it, especially in game 1. And it can steal you some games, so that's why I'm playing it. If your opponent fills up the board, just go ahead and slap this thing down, and if it resolves, then you just kind of wait it out until you get enough material to OTK your opponent through whatever they have. Just the lead in this extra deck is actually sort of like Ultimate Conductor Tyranno, but not quite as efficient as UCT, but it kind of does a similar job and can help you OTK as well. Then for the traps, we're playing 3 copies of Overdrive. This card's also insane. This destroys, you target a monster for cost, a machine monster for cost, and then you summon out a Machina monster with a different name than that monster that you targeted, then you destroy the monster. So yeah, you can proc Citadel with this card, and it just gets you access to one of the, it can actually get you access to Citadel, or just any of your other Machina monsters, and that's really good. And then 2 copies of Infinite Impermanence, because it's a pretty decent hand trap, I feel like, in the format right now. But yeah, that's it for the main deck. Let's go into the extra deck. Okay, to start for the extra deck, we're playing 3 copies of Infinitrack Goliath. So this card has a couple purposes in this deck. The main one is to fill up your graveyard to shuffle them back with Infinitrack Tunneler. But also it can, if it gets sent to the graveyard, you can attach it onto a Machine Xyz monster that you control, and that can no longer be destroyed by card effects, which is really good. With the Overdrive, actually Overdrive, since it targets for cost and it doesn't destroy till the end of the effect, you can actually get the Overdrive effect for free, and you don't have to destroy anything. But also you can go ahead and attach it onto a Zeus, and it can't be destroyed by card effects, and it also gets an additional material. So this card is actually insane in this deck, and being able to use all those effects is really going to help you win games. And then Ancient Gear Ballista to search the Ancient Gear box, and the Ancient Gear box searches a machine monster with 500 attack or defense from your deck, and that's actually really good because we play a couple of targets in there. Then we have the Double-Headed Anger Knuckle. This card is really good because it revives a level 10 machine monster from your graveyard, so it allows you to go into the rank 10 place. And then for Xyz monsters, we play one copy of Riverstormer as your primary rank 5 play. It's actually the only rank 5 play we have in this deck, but it searches any Earth Machine from your deck, and it kind of is the glue that holds all these Earth Machine archetypes together. One copy of Dingirsu, because the non-targeting send is really good, but also the effect to attach a banished machine monster to it comes up sometimes as well. Definitely don't sleep on that, because if you have a banished tunneler or trencher, you can go ahead and attach it onto Ding, get an extra material, and you can use the effect again, and that's so good when that happens. Also, it's an extra material for Zeus if this card battles. One Galaxy Eyes Photon Lord. This card did not come up today. It's a little bit pricey, I know, but it's nice to have. If you have a anchor drill in your hand and you have a gearbox in your hand, you can go ahead and make this thing by using those two cards, and it allows you to push through hand traps. So like maybe if you're scared of Nib, you can go ahead and make this thing and continue playing. One Earth Slicer for popping stuff on your opponent's field. That's mainly what you're using this card for. It's really strong as well. I like to pop a lot of back row with this card most of the time. And then Enter Blathnir. So this card's a decent make on your turn 1, and I usually like to make it instead of Hyperion, even though Hyperion does give you the negate. This card rips one out of your opponent's hand, and actually the problem with this card is that the Machina Fortress gets stuck underneath this card, and that's no good. Sometimes we want to be able to keep using the Machina Fortress over and over again, and if it's stuck under this card, we can't. So your opponent has to negate something, or has to do something for this card to be able to detach material, whereas this card you can just detach and banish one from hand. So that's it for the rank 9 engines. One copy of Super Dora. So on your first turn, this is most likely the one you'll be going into, because you'll put it in defense mode. It has 4,000 defense, and it's super beefy, and it also has the effect to detach one, and it makes you can target one monster on the field, and it becomes unaffected by card effects except for its own. So Super Dora is really nice to make on your first turn end board if you can. And also you can, if you make it with the Dairy Crane, you can detach the Dairy Crane and pop something on your opponent's field. So this card is kind of insane, actually. Really hard to OTK through. One of the big things that this deck likes to do is it likes to make it really hard for your opponent to OTK you, and then it likes to boomerang the turn back to you, and once you get the turn back, you can go ahead and OTK your opponent. One copy of Gustav Max, because this card just burns for 2,000. It helped me win in time today, and yeah, this card is actually quite good. It helps you OTK as well. One copy of Lieb, so you just rank this card up on top of a Gustav Max or a Super Dora, and it's a 4,000 attack beat stick, and if you detach one from it, you can attack. It gains 2,000 additional attack and defense, and you can attack on monsters up to the number of materials that it has +1. So that's quite good as well for OTKing, and this helps you with like some. This is why Mystic Mine actually was pretty good in the deck today, because Lieb was able to OTK people through the Mystic Mine because it's only one monster. And then lastly, Zeus. Zeus is usually you don't make Zeus on your first turn because the Infinitrack Brutal Dozer does lock you into Earth Machine monsters for the duration of the turn. But on your turns, follow-up turns, you can go ahead and make Zeus if you don't OTK your opponent. And especially if you get 4 material under this guy, it's going to be really hard for your opponent to kill you. And usually you can actually just win after that. So Zeus is, it was kind of an MVP today. And, you just got to love Zeus. It's an amazing card. But anyways, that's going to round it off for the extra deck. Let's go ahead and just run through the side deck real quick. Okay, for the side deck, playing 3 copies of Droll and Lockbird because it's pretty good against Drytron, but also pretty good against a couple other decks in the format. One person was playing Attic Nisters today, and I just dropped this card on him game 2, and he pretty much just had to scoop from there because this card is so powerful. 3 copies of Lancea because, once again, Tri-Brigade is really prevalent, Dinosaur is pretty prevalent, and I actually didn't end up having to side this card in today. I didn't need it. Didn't come into any matchups where I thought it would be worth it, but it was there just in case. 3 copies of Twin Twister for playing against back row decks. There's no Feather Duster in this deck because I just would like to have Twin Twisters to be able to pop my own Mystic Mine in games 2 and 3 if I needed to. Your opponents usually don't see that coming. So also, if you're just sitting on Mystic Mines, you can draw a couple of these and actually pop their back row as well. If you have multiple of these cards, pop their back row, pop your own Mystic Mine, and attempt to go for game from there. Three copies of Dark Ruler No More. Once again, this card did not come up today, but it's there just in case they come up against one of those unbreakable boards. And then lastly, 3 copies of Anti-Spell Fragrance for locking out those spell-based decks. If I lose game 1 and I know I'm going to go first, I just side this card in, and there's a pretty decent chance that you'll see it. And it's actually really good against any deck that fusion summons or ritual summons. They can't actually do any of that until their next turn, which is really great because this card's just a really strong floodgate for like Drytron and the Shaddolls and Invoke stuff. So that's it for the deck, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed. Huge shout out to Winter Kills and Aerosol TCG because I kind of inspired this deck off of them, and their combo videos helped me play this deck quite well, and thanks to them. So with that, I'm just going to leave you guys with a peace out and have a nice day. Goodbye.